Few other animals symbolize the West as dramatically as the American bison. A long time ago, millions of bison roamed the North American continent from Canada to the north, south into Mexico, and from the east to west coasts. Native Americans relied on them for plentiful meat, tough skins, and warm fur. American settlers called them lords of the prairie. Today, American bison are still North America's largest mammals. When Christopher Columbus first landed on America's eastern coast, biologists estimate that bison numbered about 60 million. In the early 1800s, an American cavalry troop described a herd they watched for 3 days. It was over 60 miles long and stretched the full length of the horizon. They ran in massive herds, thundering across great open plains. Bison were part of the largest community of wild animals the world has ever known. But that all changed when waves of white settlers began moving west. Among the earliest settlers were trappers and traders, people who made a living selling meat and hides. These professional hunters killed bison by the thousands. Entire herds were wiped out, and by the 1870s, hundreds of thousands of bison hides were shipped eastward each year. By 1880, the slaughter was almost over. Where millions of bison once roamed, only a few thousand animals remained. Soon their numbers dwindled. The largest wild herd, just a few hundred animals, clustered in the isolated valleys of the newly created Yellowstone National Park. From this tattered remnant, people began rebuilding the once mighty herds of North American bison.
Okay, what we're going to do this morning is mix up the drugs we use for bison immobilization.
Wildlife veterinarian Tom Roth is part of a highly trained group of scientists who are experts on bison. They've teamed together in Yellowstone National Park to learn more about how disease affects one of the last remaining wild herds.
I think we're set.
On this winter excursion, the research team hopes to capture 8 female bison who were radio collared several years ago. They also hope to capture 2 new bison for testing. The telemetry equipment indicates that somewhere in this open field, a bison is wearing a radio collar. This area of Yellowstone is off limits to snow machines, so the advanced team struggles through snowdrifts, the same way mountain men did over 150 years ago. The rest of the scientists follow cautiously, quietly awaiting word of a successful capture.
Yeah, that's where the 2 buffalo are. They're together. You got to go past the footbridge.
Well, they've just shot the animal. Now we're waiting for it to go down. Once it goes down, and they're sure it's going to stay down, not get back up, then we're going to rush in there and make sure we get on her as soon as we can.
The tranquilizer dart causes the female to stagger. A fellow member of the herd licks the wound in her hip where the dart injected. The shaggy beasts are inclined to protect their own, and they gather around the faltering animal, reluctant to abandon her. The scientists wave their hats and shout, but it takes the sharp noise of a cracker gun to finally disperse most of the herd. The team rushes to the animal, working quickly to gather samples and take tests. The scientists are worried the bison may contain brucellosis, a cattle disease brought over from Europe which has infected some bison.
We're starting to get the drug really good here.
The female is free from the disease. Scientists hope that someday their work will develop a cure for brucellosis and help ensure the future of this herd. Bison are part of the family Bovidae, the same family to which cattle and goats belong. They are not in the same family as Asian and African buffalo, but because they resemble these old world animals, early explorers called them buffalo. Bison, however, is the correct scientific and common name. And there are some big differences between buffalo and bison. One difference is the large shoulder hump of the American bison. The hump is a large muscle which controls the head and helps bison dig for grass in a field covered with snow. This hump, along with the broad, massive head, short, thick neck, and small hindquarters, give the animal its rugged appearance. But for all their brutish looks, bison have some finely tuned features. One of them is a superior sense of smell. Bison can sniff out green grasses buried under several feet of winter snow. The color and character of a bison's fur varies with the season. A mature male in summer has a light brown coat. In winter, a dark brown to black coat. Long hairs on the face, especially around the chin, form what looks like a shaggy beard. On the hips and hindquarters, a bison's hair is short, adding to the sloping appearance of the animal from hump to tail. As for their size, it makes sense that early settlers called bison the lords of the prairie. Some males, also called bulls, stand 6 feet at the shoulder and weigh as much as 2,500 pounds. The females, or cows, are smaller, often weighing around 1,000 pounds. But don't be fooled. Just because bison are big doesn't mean they are slow. A bison can outrun a horse. Bison can move at speeds up to 35 miles per hour. They cover long distances at a deceptively fast lumbering gallop. Each spring, a cow will give birth to one 30-pound baby, called a calf. These awkward bundles of fur learn quickly to stand and run, as they must, almost immediately keep up with the herd. Today the herd is on the move in search of tall, tender grasses. A pair of 2-month-old calves must follow the adults across a cold, deep river. It's a tough task for the little bison. They hold their noses high and kick for the other side. Back on safe ground, the calves frisk about the meadow like excited children bragging over the achievement. Bison calves nurse for the first year of life. Their mother's milk contains protein and nutrients critical for the calf's development. Early on, mom is patient, but when a calf becomes too pushy, an unceremonious nudge gets him moving. For the adults, tall, tender grasses are the mainstay. Bison graze mostly in the mornings and evenings, eating and trampling up to 30 pounds of grass in a 24-hour period. The search for nutritious grasses keeps herds on the move year-round. In winter, this means migrating for miles and digging through layers of deep snow. They also drink almost 10 gallons of water per day. In the wild, few predators can bring down a healthy adult bison, but sick animals and young calves must beware. Wolves and even coyotes constantly watch for any opportunity. A bison's most obvious weapons are the sharp horns on both males and females. Their heads, featuring massive skulls, can also be used as battering rams. The hind legs are another weapon, and when needed, kick swiftly with devastating effect. These weapons, along with the bison's unpredictable temperament, give the hulking animal its reputation as a bully. Many people consider bison more dangerous than grizzly bears. But in the warm sun of a summer afternoon, you're more likely to find bison bedding down for a nap. And these days, the American bison can rest easy. Herds which once nearly dwindled into extinction now number almost 100,000 strong. Though their numbers are far below the tens of millions that once roamed North America, the continued existence of these lords of the prairie seems assured. And at least on the landscapes they now call home, American bison once again rule their domain.